Okay, this is the start of a repair on a 400-day clock. Now this is what ends up happening when you have a spring let loose. Went to, I guess, let the spring down and kind of let loose on them. Let me get a tweezers here. Here is the click for the winding mechanism, and there's what can happen when you have a spring let loose. That gear is not usable. So I've been looking, and I think I found one that will work. The only thing is I'll have to make the hole bigger, but I think we'll have I found a gear that will probably work. The other thing is I'm not sure how well this here are the gears that are in here, and I want you to see if you can see something happen when I spin these gears. Maybe not in this one, huh? Yeah. There, do you see it? The gear that goes to is the gear that hooks to the spring barrel. Watch it. And that's what happens when a spring lets loose. This might be tough. I hope I can get that straightened. I don't know if I can or not. It is running fine with the gears ahead of it in the train, but that's certainly not going to run well with the barrel. So I got to see if I can straighten that. That might be the toughest thing to do, is to get that straight enough that it'll run with the barrel. So that's our challenge. And like so many of these 400-day clocks, there's the condition of the suspension spring. That's what happens when you spin the weights that are suspended from them. This is the weight. It twists it all up in a knot. So we'll have to replace replace that suspension spring. So we've got, most important thing is that gear. If I can't straighten that gear, all the other stuff is meaningless. So I'll see what I can do with it, and we'll go from there. So we've got bent gear, suspension spring, replacement click, and actually replacement hands too. Found 2 sets of hands that'll work, because the hands are broken as well, and I found a new gear to work, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, looking at this, so far it looks like that's the only part of it. And it's bent is that part of it. I don't see any movement in the other 2 wheels. The wheel nor the pinion gear. So that's what I need to try to straighten right there. That's what we got to do, is get that to run true with that center. Okay, I'm working from the, I still got a bent bent pivot. But let's see how this is running. Pinion looks like it's running pretty straight. This gear is not flopping back and forth. Okay, you see the pivot itself is still. This looks pretty good right now. Let's keep working toward the other end until we get it all straight. Pivot is about as close as I can get it. The wheel is turning good there. Okay, another thing to remember, this was the one that was bent. Put that in here, put the barrel back on, put the cap back on the barrel cover. Put this back on. Okay, they're in there. Remember, this was the one. This was the one that was bent. Now let's see if everything runs smooth. Put it down here. Alright, that feels pretty good. Don't see anything completely out of balance anymore. Shaft is running true, pinion is running true and smooth. I think it's about as good as I can do. Let's hope that's going to be good enough. And we'll see how it works. Okay, put all of the gears in. And we'll see. It's going to run this way, right? Let's see. Okay. Get a tiny bit out of there. Okay, let's see how the gears run now. Everything in place. Okay, so far nice and smooth. Smoothly. Don't feel any stickiness, catching. Don't really see anything moving out of whack right now. Some rust right there. I'm going to clean this all up, but I think we got gears straight now, where nothing is out of whack. And I think we got it straight enough. We're going to make it work. Okay. Okay, here's the click gear. That's what happens when a spring lets go. And here's a replacement gear that I found. Took me a while to find it. And it is the same size. However, you can see that even the teeth, the same number of teeth, everything's correct. Problem is the square hole is not the right size, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to mark out how big that has to be, and I think I'll clamp those together. I'll put some Dicom on there. Match these together. Scratch out the size the hole has to be. And then hand file it. Okay, got a pair of hemostats. Put some blue dye on. And hopefully that's going to do it. So what I'll do is mark that die with a real sharp pen. Take a pin, scratch squares in it, and just file up to the scratches then, and then we'll make some fine adjustments. Okay. And then we just scratch this way, and this way, and this way, and here. And now we'll take off the hemostat. Here's what we have to remove. So we will now file up to the line and then start to fit it. Okay, we got the hole squared large enough now that it goes on here. It does go on. Problem is, it's a little too thick. I compare it to the old one. A little difference. It's about, let's see, it's like we've got 1.5 millimeters, and this about 1.85. So we gotta take some off of it. I'm going to be doing that on a stone. I'll just stone down the side until we get to the same thickness. A lot of work, but we'll get there. Getting very close. About 1.6. Okay, here is the replacement gear now. To replace this one that got all chewed up. And I think we're pretty close to having it where it needs to be. Yeah. So, let's see how it works. Okay. Okay, that click is going to work. It's working smoothly. The problem is that this click itself had the tip torn off of it. You can see that it's not right, so going to see if I can refile that and make it work. If I can't, I'll just have to make a new one. Alright. Use the grinding stones to reshape that tip. And I'm hoping that will do it. See how it happens when we turn with the key. Okay. I'd say that fits fairly well into the teeth of the ratchet. I think I got the angle pretty close. Might just hit it with just redo just a tiny bit, but that's looking good. I think we won't have to remake the whole thing. I think we'll have a ratchet that will work. Okay, I'm examining this barrel. Come around here, and it looks like it might have a couple of bent teeth. Yeah. So we're going to have to straighten those. It may not be bent all the way through. It might just be on the edge here. Check this out pretty carefully. Make sure that we run smoothly. Oh, it just looks kind of odd. When you have a spring let loose, you really do a lot of damage. Okay, as we go around the edge this way, looking at these teeth this way, just looking for any oh, there we go. There's one that's a little, yeah, those two right there. See how these are nice and parallel? And then you get here, this tooth. This tooth is bent this way. It's not parallel anymore. And as well as this one. Okay, I'll continue around. See what else we find. Might be a little bit out of whack right there. There's one that's a little tiny bit out. Let's see what we can do with these. And we'll put them in with you. A couple of the gears and see if it runs smoothly. Go around the barrel. We gotta find any damage that that crazy spring might have caused. Sometimes you have quite a few of them. But I don't see anything broken or cracked. Just keep going around here again. There we are. See how that one is? That one's not parallel. Those two right there are a problem. Let's see if we can straighten those. Okay. I'm going to go past where those crooked teeth were. And I think got them pretty well straightened. Just use a very fine screwdriver to get between the teeth. Do a little prying from the base, and I think we got that taken care of. Let's see how it runs with the other gears. Okay, I got these two gears now in there. The barrel, and the gear that it meshes with. And let's see, we wind this way, it's going to run this way. So let's just turn this. Remember that this gear that the barrel is meshing with is the one that was so badly bent up. And I think it's running very true. Right now, oh, no wait. I just feel a tiny bit of roughness right there. Okay, let's see what's going on. Let's run it around again. Right there. Just the tiniest bit. But I have to see what's doing it. Yeah, right there. Okay, check that out. Alright, I cleaned out the pinion and the teeth on the barrel. There's a little bit of dirt in there. Now this is where that roughness was showing up before, and it's just smooth as silk now. I see nothing in here that's a problem. Running nice and smooth. I think we'll be alright. I think we got the problems resolved there. Okay. Everything is running nicely. Only one problem I see now is the center shaft is a little bent. We'll have to straighten that. That gear that was so badly bent by this one here is now running very smooth with the barrel, as well as the gear, this one here that it meshes with. I'm looking, I don't see anything else that's bent. Everything seems to be turning very, very smoothly. So I think we're going to be okay. I need to put that center wheel in the lathe and true up that arbor. Just a little bit of wobble in it. Get that straightened up. That's not affecting the way it's running with the other gears. So we'll straighten it up, but the next thing for us to do is to mess with that spring. See if it's going to be reusable. The idea here is that if I had my leather gloves, I'd just use a leather glove, but yeah. Oh, come on. Don't let loose on me. All right, now I'm going to try to get this in there. Where's the button? that in. And then we reverse this. And capture the spring in that thing. Okay, we got it captured. Oh, hate that. Okay, so now we have that like this, and we should be able to take that right out. Okay, that empties our container. Our spring is captured here. And now comes the fun part again. This time, we gotta let this down. Only this has got to be out a little bit so that we can capture it on a hook. Let's move this back out. It's got to come all the way over here where that can go in. Okay. Is it turning or not? I don't think it's turning. Nope, it's not catching. Oh, I just love. I don't like this thing though. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's loose. Now we reverse it. Oh, maybe. And we let it down. Please just don't let go. Okay. Alright. There we go. Finally let down. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reuse this spring. I cleaned it. I'm going to oil it, put it back in. If it doesn't work, if there's a problem with the clock where it's working, then I'll just order a new spring and we'll take it apart and put a new spring in it then. Okay, there are all the parts. A new set of hands. Everything cleaned. There's the new ratchet for the click. Redid the click. Everything's done now, nice and cleaned up. Now the only thing we have to do now is to put on a new spring here, and we'll do that next. Alright, here's the suspension spring. It's supposed to be nice and straight, flat, and I think you can see this is all twisted to daylights. Alright, now what happens is this is in the movement. This weight hangs from this bottom block, and this twists back and forth. Okay, that twisting back and forth twists this little fork back and forth. And that little fork back and forth that fork goes in here, and that pushes the pallets back and forth and releases the teeth on the escape wheel. Three things are very, very, very important if you're going to have a clock that even works. One, the length of this spring has to be exactly right. Two, the position of this fork has to be exactly right. And three, and most important, the thickness of this spring has to be exactly right. Now, how many different kinds of springs are there? Well, here's a container, and let's take a look. Yeah, it starts out with 18 10,000ths, 19 10,000ths. That makes a difference. 20 10,000ths or 2,000ths. 21 10,000ths, 22 10,000ths, 23 10,000ths, and so forth. All the way up to actually 5,000ths or 50 10,000ths. So, what spring do I get? How long does it have to be? Where does the fork have to be? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that is to own a copy of, let's see if I can get this back far enough now, of Charles Terwilliger's book, The Horolover 400-Day Clock Repair Guide. Because in this book it's done by back plates, are the back plates of all of the clocks that have been made up to the date. All right, I bought this one, oh good grief, back in the 1960s at some time when I started working with clocks. In 1968 I bought this sometime at that time. All right, looking through here, I'm looking for this particular plate. And this particular plate, see if I can do this, I'm getting a reflection, says K little u s. That's Kern, K-E-R-N, and Sun. In German, that's Kern und Sohn. And then it's got an M-I-V after it and the word Germany. And the holes have to be exactly right. Well, I've looked all through the book that I have. And the closest one that I can find is not this one, because that is too big for that print. These are exact size. Ah, here we go. That's the same size that way. Same size that way. Oh, the holes. Look at, there's two holes there. Holes there. Man, that looks pretty good. Yeah, maybe that's the plate. Oh, that sure looks like the exact plate. Okay? The problem is, back plate, holes, and everything were exactly the same. The logo is different. And if we look at it, it's telling us to use a 19 10,000ths. There is nothing in here that's exactly like this one. So what I did was figured, well, it probably is a model that was made after this book was published. So, I broke down and went out and bought a new edition. This is again by Charles Terwilliger, but this one has a copyright date of 1991. And in looking through this one, here we go. Oh, look. There's K-U-S, K-U-S, K-U-S. And if I take this and I look here, nope, that plate's a little too small. I look here and, oh, by golly, same height, same width. Back the holes. Oh, there's those two holes. There's that little hole and that little hole. There's that. All the holes line up. That big hole lines up. Ah, fits just like any other book. The only difference being that this one says, remember, K-U-S-M-I-V, and by golly, look at here, K-U-S-M-I-V, Germany. That's the exact same plate. And we said that the thickness was important on the... Let's see if there's really any difference. Let's look down and see what spring this one takes. Oh, this takes a 23 10,000ths spring. Also in this book are exact size silhouettes of the suspension springs, along with where the top and bottom blocks go and where the forks go. And they have unit numbers on them. You remember that the one for ours is 12F. So let's go and let's look. And there's 5, 6, 7, 10s. Oh, here's 12s. There's 12A, B, C, D, E, and F. Well, 12F, I don't know. See, like that has 12A is different in the kind of fork that it has. 12B is different in the position, not only the position, but the angle of the fork. 12C beats the heck out of me. Looks like the blocks are a different size. Well, anyway, we finally get down to 12F. And this is the unit that we need to use to set up our suspension spring. And this is how our existing suspension spring compares to that setup. And I think you can see that things are a bit on the mangled side. Anyway, we got to redo this. And remember what size spring we got to have? We got to have a 23 10,000ths. All right. Now, a little hard, actually, to work with the book and be laying things out in the book. So the easier way is just to go upstairs to the printer, make a photocopy of it, and then I can just use that same one. Okay. No, the unit we're going to use, it says Kern Miniature 61. That means probably started production in 1961. Uses a 23 10,000ths and a rollover spring. And it says that when it's running, the pendulum swings back and forth 8 times per minute, so 8 beats per minute. It said this unit is used with the only Kern movement that has the mainspring barrel on the right side when viewed from the back. With few exceptions, this movement is used only in a model with a brass and plastic sided case. Okay, anyway, if I look at the back plate, sure enough, that big hole on the right hand side is where the mainspring goes. This is the back plate. Viewed from the back, it has the hole for the mainspring on the right side. That's just more evidence that this is, in fact, the correct information. And somebody might ask, are you sure that the photocopy is accurate, the right size? So just to make sure, I'm going to put this on here as a little. Okay. There's the correct size. Here's my photocopy. And let's see where we are here. There's our 12F right here. By golly, that's exactly right. Okay. Now we can guarantee that that's the way we need to set it up, and we won't be messing up our... Okay, here's the container. Contains an assortment of springs. And if we look on the other side, we'll see that here's a list of what's in here. There's one at 20 10,000s, a couple at 23 10,000s, 25, 30, 32, 35, 30, up to 40. And I look and I see that the 220s are empty. Well, there's one in the 220 and the 20. And there's one in a 23 right there. So let's take that one out. So very thin. Yeah, there we are. Okay. Now we can close this back up. And we'll deal with that later. Here's our spring. Right here. And it's very thin. If we want to confirm that, this is a micrometer. It's only good to really to thousandths. And there we see 2 thousandths and a little bit more right there. I would say that's probably about 23 thousandths. Was the 20,000 be right on the line? 23 thousandths. Now, if you were going to be fixing lots and lots of these kinds of clocks, you can buy these suspension spring jigs for every size. I don't even know how much they are. This happens to be one that was left over from when my father-in-law was working on them. I wouldn't mess with them. I don't know if they make them anymore, but here's Best Fit White Alloy 400-day clock suspension springs. You can also get these in bronze, and then you have to start messing around with the equivalents. Bronze, it's 2 thousandths, is the same as the white alloy. Good grief, 185 hundred thousandths, etc. I don't even know if they make these anymore. I know that Best Fit makes regular watch springs, but I don't know if they're made anymore. These things can also be bought in 3-packs. Horoliver's the way to go if you're gonna do this. So anyway, you can also buy online at clock supply things this whole unit already made up with new forks, and the blocks, everything is already made up for the exact type of clock that you're dealing with. I don't know how many are available. There's so many different models of these, I just don't know. But anyway, they can be purchased. So we're going to take this thing and we're going to replace the spring with this one. Now what I've done is I've taken this and I've glued it, that copy, and I glued it to a board. And then make it easier to deal with. I'm making my own jig. There's a pin on this one, so I'm going to drill a little hole to fit that pin down into. And that'll make it a lot easier for me to hold these in place to get them in the right position. All right, this spring is about 8 inches long or longer, I think. Let's see what we got. That's about 7 1/4 inches long. The spring that's going in here is only about 3 1/4. So you can actually use this one spring to make up 2 suspension units for this particular size clock. So we will save the piece that we don't use in case we get another small clock to fix. I just drilled a hole here, so I pushed that pin down in there. Drilled a hole here, drove a tapered pin through the hole. So those are in the exact positions they gotta be. Now I can undo the screws, separate the halves of the top and bottom block, undo the screw on the fork, and put the new spring in and sew them back together. Okay. Grab a hold, hold it still, take a little driver. You don't have to take the screw all the way out, just loosen it. I don't think I got that one. Yeah, I did. Okay. And then you'll see the wire will come right out. Okay, now those are in the right place. We'll get the wire in there. Did get that other one. These screws are so tiny. Okay. Same with the fork. I have to take the screw completely out. Just got to get a hold of it. There we go. Take the screwdriver. Get it in there. Yeah. Undo it. And that wire come out. Now we'll be ready to put that in very shortly. Okay. We can take, let's see if I got that loose or not. Yeah, I do. Okay. We can now take the wire. I better put my magnifier on. Set the wire in to the center of the block. Tighten it that on. And now let's go with the fork. Oh, there they are, right in front of me. Okay. Take the fork around. See if I can't get the fork on there. Yeah. There's how the fork's supposed to go. I'll try to hold. Oh. Okay, got the fork on. And then over here, what we got to do is we're going to look at cutting this off just so that it's above the pin. So that's right here. This back in the container so that we can tighten these down. Let me see if I can get one of these other ones. Just a little bit bigger blade on it. Okay, that one's tight. That one's tight. That should be it. Okay, and now we should have this thing all together. Bend it now. That's what we have to put in the clock. Okay, time to put the movement back together. Alright, I got it together and then realized I had this wheel upside down, so I had to take it back apart again, and now that is the proper placement of the wheels. Okay, we got all the wheels in now. And what we're going to do now is oil it. The only thing we're going to oil are the spots on the pivots. Pivot holes, and not that much. And put a little bit on a couple of the teeth of the escape wheel. It'll eventually spread that out. And then we'll get the rest of this put together and start messing with the suspension spring. Okay, now we're going to put this back on the base. We're going to take this suspension spring that goes in this little saddle here. And this fork has to go over the top of that little rod sticking out, and we're going to put this screw in here to hold it. And we're not going to put any hands on it or anything. We're just going to see if we can get this running. I've leveled it both ways, and put the rest of this stuff on later. I just want to see how this is going to go. So we'll put the weight on, pendulum on, suspend it. And this is level. Actually, that should be right in the middle of that cup down there. And that looks pretty good. I don't know about these miniatures, how much they're supposed to go, but this is what I do to put these in beat, is I watch for the movement of the escape wheel, or maybe even the sound of the click if I can hear it, and see how much it overruns. And then you've got to rotate this saddle back and forth up here to bring it into beat. So let's just see how it goes right now. I'm thinking these probably run about 360, so we'll turn it around 180. And whoops, don't need to bump them. Need to just settle them all down and let them turn. And let's see if it works. Okay, that's 360. I don't know if it's... I gotta bring my magnifier down so I can see. No, it's not. Click. Click. Gets way over swinging this way. So we got to bring this way. And there is a special tool you can get for this. It just got to be twisted that way. Let's see if that moved it at all. And we'll go back to it. You look down on top, you watch for the release of the tooth, and then you watch the pendulum balls down here, and how much they, after it clicks, how much they overrun, or run past after it clicks. Now it's hard to show that here, but if I watch it, what there should be equal overrun on each side after it releases the escape gear. I don't know if we can even see it. Let's try it. Click. Click. So anyway, we can see the escape wheel being released. Like that. That. Very close. So what we have to do is watch. We can make a graph kind of a thing. Put down and watch how far it overswings. But if you watch, I'll tell you, I'll count out the ticks, and then you see how far the ball runs each time. So here we go. Now watch. Tick. 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 It's overrunning that direction a little bit much, isn't it? Tick. It's getting very close. Tick. I'll have to check it, but what we're trying to do is make sure that after the tick, that the overrun of the pendulum is the same, and we may have to make fine adjustments until we get. Now, how do we adjust that? By twisting right here. We twist this either to the right or to the left, and that will increase the amount that we push either right or left on the arm that moves the anchor. You can see the fork going back and forth, and that will adjust how much when it ticks in the swing of the pendulum, and how much the pendulum overruns. When we get that even, then we're in beat. Okay, it's time to go out to dinner. Oh, I have it pretty close to adjusted, and where it's probably keep running now. So put the dome back on so that air currents and what have you can't bother this thing. We'll see if it keeps running. If it keeps running, I'll come back and put the rest of it together. Okay, haven't put the hands on or the tube on the back covering the thing, but I set this up night before last, so it's been running about 36 hours. So I think we've got it. And it looks like it runs, let's see, there's that 360, 90, looks like a 440 degrees that set of balls turns. So anyway, it's making about 8 beats a minute, and we just got to finish that up and then we'll be done.